Hello class. We're going to be doing frequencies and distributions for this example. So if you have the data open already, great. If you don't, it's going to be from week 6 right here. And then music.save is going to be what we're going to be using. So this one. So open it up and get it opened up on either, if you're on a computer at school, you can get it opened up through SPSS, the one that's downloaded, or if you have to go through VLab, it's be vlab.unf.edu right here. So you just log in, and this is what you log in is my N number. So you log into Virtual Lab. I'm using the light version for today. So open up SPSS and it'll open up in a window like this, and you're good to go. So make sure you're saving this as you go along. So here's what our data set looks like now. So now that you have all of this information, it's already on the data set. You don't have to redo all the analyses we already did before. You can just use what we already have. So we're going to look at age in 3 categories, which we made in the last video. Time spent listening to music, this would be hours here, and number of rock and roll albums. So we're going to analyze these. So you go to frequencies here from Analyze, Descriptive Statistics, and Frequencies. Now that you have your frequencies open, make sure it's frequencies and not descriptives. Okay, we're opening up frequencies here. So clear anything that's in there. So now you want to add in number of rock and roll albums owned, age in 3 categories right here. If you don't have that, look at the last video on how to recode variables, and you can make that really quickly. So you have age in 3 categories, number of rock and roll albums, and time spent listening to music each week. Alright, so now you have these as the frequencies you're going to run. This is going to be really the first pieces of data that you see in this class thus far. So every time you run frequencies, you want about 4 things from your statistics table. As you click the statistics, this pops up. You want mean, your standard deviation, and your minimum and your maximum. Standard deviation and mean are very important. You're going to display those in your methods section. But minimum maximum are also important for a very different reason. These values here are really to check if you have outliers. So say you have age. If you're using a college sample, you're generally not going to find someone over 110 years old. You're also not going to find someone that's 3 years old or 9 years old. So you get to look for those things, and you want to delete those values. You don't want them affecting your mean at all, and you want to note them as missing values so they don't get calculated into your mean. So that's important to remember for this. So if you already have missing values inserted in, which this data set already does, you want to make sure that you account for those things. So that'll be variable view, and you'll have your missing values right into here. So we went over that earlier in class. So alright, so now that we've determined that we're running these variables and we've determined our statistics for it, now we can go to charts. So now you want to run a histogram. This is really a normality check to make sure that your data is evenly distributed, and that your variable is normal, quote unquote. So you can show a normality curve on there to find out what the curvature of that is. Really not important for this class to know if normality is a problem. For future classes, professors may ask you to check your normality. A histogram would be the best way to do it, the quickest way. So now that you got your statistics and you got your charts, you're just going to press OK. And now SPSS is going to start calculating these for you. So this is the main chart right up here. This is what you're going to look at the majority of the time, is going to be your statistics table, this one. So if you have continuous variables, you're going to use this. Now for categorical variables, you will use the like age in 3 categories. You're going to use this to do your table. So we'll go over that later. But for this example, it's just important to know that your N is right here. It's your population size, your sample size. Your mean for each one is right here. So number of rock and roll albums, your mean is 17.67. Age in 3 categories, mean is 2.25, the standard deviation of 0.86. Ignore that for now. A mean for a categorical variable is not really useful. and then time spent listening to music each week with a mean of 25.17 and 15.94 is your standard deviation. So no rock and roll albums owned, that looks good. Time listening to music, those numbers, those minimum maximum values look fine. That's it for this video. This is just really basic, looking at these values and figuring out what's going on. Figure out what your means are. This would be really great to have for your method section. You're going to need to eventually run a couple frequencies for that. All right, so have a good rest of your day.